Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is good today. We are excited here. We're here at Czek Creative for our Women in Leadership Connect. And I'm Denise Young, Chapter Chair, and I'd like to just introduce who's in the room. We have Alexa from Czek Creative, as well as Patty Glover and Nika from the Women in Leadership Okanagan, so that's a little bit behind the scenes. And of course, Nikki Csek is in the room, and I will be shortly introducing her. I would like to just start by going over some of the chapter stuff. First of all, just on the Zoom, if you turn on your chat, just so you know that there's an ability to ask questions, so please type them in there, and then that way we will be facilitating a question and answer at the end of Nikki's presentation. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to start off with going over just some of our Women in Leadership Okanagan events. First of all, we do have our next one. It's going to be scheduled for October 15th at 8 a.m. We have a couple different speakers in mind, and they should be shortly confirmed. We do have Bria Lake confirmed for November 19th at 8 a.m. And of course, she's from Accelerate Okanagan. We're also going to be doing something for International Women's Day, and we were going to be announcing the details probably at our November 19th Leadership Connect. On a national level, we have the Mentorship Program, and this is really important because 82% of females agree that mentorship is crucial in career advancement, yet only 1 in 5 invest in mentorship. So we are very excited for the Women in Leadership on a national level. We are going to be hosting a virtual mentorship program, and this is going to be starting in January of 2021, and it's going to be for 6 months. And what we are looking for is 2 things, is that if you would like to be a mentor or a mentee, please go to our website, which is womeninleadership.ca. And what I really like about this virtual mentorship is the fact that it doesn't matter where we're going, it doesn't matter where you are. So if it makes sense for, say, you're here in Okanagan and the perfect match for you, we can actually do that. Could whoever has, I know that we muted everybody coming in, so if everybody could just make sure that their video is, or sorry, the audio, not the video, but the audio is muted, just because we're getting some feedback here, so thank you. So again, with the mentorship program, you know, we really encourage everybody to be a mentor or else be a mentee. And again, please go to our website, and we have a lot of great stuff planned, and everything is going to be virtual. There's going to be workshops, sessions, and everything again is going to be over from January to May. So how can you connect with us? If you're here in the Okanagan, there is the Women in Leadership on Facebook. And just Google, or just Google, sorry, just search Women in Leadership Okanagan Chapter. And our Twitter handle is @WillOkanagan, as well as Instagram is will.okanagan. And on a national level, I really encourage everybody to sign up for the newsletter through our, on the womeninleadership.ca. And the LinkedIn is really a national program. So yes, we have people from across Canada joining us today. So I know that this is hosted in Okanagan, but that's the beauty of having these virtual events, is that everybody can join. And I know the other chapters, especially Calgary and Ottawa, they have some great sessions coming up. So now what I'd like to do is, it is my pleasure to introduce a very active, passionate, and dedicated person with the Okanagan business community. She is the CEO of her group of companies for 22 years, wow, which has grown to be the largest full-service media company within the interior of BC. She's been recognized as one of the top 100 fastest growing companies in BC for 3 consecutive years. Top 5 in Best Company BC by Small Business BC, and nominated for 3 consecutive years for RBC Women of Influence. She is the past president of the Kelowna Kelowna Chamber of Commerce and a past mentor at large for the Kelowna Women in Business, and is referred to as a visionary leader. Please welcome Nikki Csek, CEO of Csek Creative, who will be sharing her leadership journey with us. Welcome, Nikki, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. How about now? Yes? Thank you to Will for inviting me to speak today. Thank you to Denise and Nika and Patty for making this possible and allowing me to share a bit in the Modified Lightning Speaker Series. Let me see if I can pack about 20 minutes. 20 years of business into about 20 minutes. Now, the request was to speak into 3 specific questions in some way. And although the questions are really geared towards COVID, I think my interpretation at least was to try and highlight leadership through some rough and turbulent waters. Okay, so first question was, during these times, what did I find was my biggest challenge as a leader, and how did I overcome it? In order to do that, I need to set the stage a bit so you can understand my answer. As many entrepreneurs do, when we started this company 22 years ago, we decided that we were going to be all in. We would do whatever it took. It didn't matter. And we knew there would be challenges, and we never expected differently. So day one, I promise I remember this. I thought, today I'm going to phone and I'm going to get a customer. I'm going to get a customer. And I did not. So I tried that again in day 2. You call to try and get a first customer. Day 3, you call to try and get a first customer. Day 4, full on panic. I've clearly made a mistake. I need to phone my old employer and I need to beg and plead for my job back. But then you land your first job and your first client, and now you need to figure out how to deliver that product or service that you've just sold, and that's a whole nother set of challenges. But it gets better. Now you've completed it, and you have to hope and pray that they will pay, and if they do not, you have so many responsibilities in the beginning. You're solo. Everything will live and die by what you do. Although that never really changes as you find success and as you grow as a company, it's just that your wins are a little bit bigger. Your losses are bigger because the stakes are a bit higher. So you set goals for yourself to keep yourself motivated because you're alone, you're by yourself. And again, reflecting on this talk, I was thinking there were goals I would set for myself to not be hung up on today. That was a good goal. Just call for business and hope that you don't get hung up on. There would be days where I would say, I'm going to keep calling until someone says yes. You know, thinking back, I remember thinking, wouldn't it be neat if we made more money than we actually put out this month? So those are good goals. Those are good goals. And then lastly, one I remember many times, and this is definitely entrepreneurship. You do miss yourself in payroll. There's many a months or many of payrolls that you don't get paid. So a good goal was, hey, wouldn't it be neat if I could actually get paid a little bit? So little goals. Eventually the goals change until one day you're approaching this milestone. I always had a goal post out there. I always knew that I needed to make it to year 5. I felt if I could make it to year 5, that I would actually have a good chance of being in business and staying in business. So you see the goal post, it's right there, it's so close, and you get to it and you take a whole whopping 5 minutes to pat yourself on the back, do a little happy dance, you made it 5 years, and then quick back to work. So I think it's important to say that I really do fundamentally believe that anything's possible if you want it. I believe you just have to go get it. You have to work for it. Nothing's easy. And I've always told my children, you can be, you can have, and you can do anything you want. You just have to go get it. Go get it. There are really, truly only 2 things I believe in life that you can manage, and one of them is your attitude, and the other is your effort. So I think entrepreneurship is hard. If it were easy, I think everyone would do it. There's times that you pat yourself on the back, and then there's other times that you have a serious conversation with yourself. You sit yourself down and you tell yourself to shape up, to pull it together, to be better today than you were yesterday. So in our 22 years of operation, there are many times that I picked the company over being present for those important family moments. Not always, but sometimes. You swoop in late for the Christmas concert, you come home late, so maybe you don't get to sit and have dinner with family, you miss tucking the kids in, you don't go to the hospital because you know cancer's a long road, but it turns out to only be 7 days. So you did not get to say thank you to Anna, who was there helping you. So there's times you lay awake poring over a decision, and it's such an important decision, and you toss and you turn, and then there's other decisions that you make in a snap, in a second, and they're equally important. So yes, I do believe it's hard, but I can tell you that I wouldn't trade it for the world. You make decisions as best you can in the moment. And I do think hindsight's easy. It's easy to take a look and think you should have picked something different, but you do the best that you can in business. To this day, I have not met a hurdle that I was not willing to take a run at. So fast forward to 2018, our company was faced with a real challenge of being able to operate in the downtown without distraction and without interruption, as we struggled with the challenges of being next door to a pop-up emergency shelter. And it was not long before we realized that we did need to make a move. We literally had to make a move. So at this point in our 20 years in operation, we had never borrowed money. If we needed it, whatever it was, we saved for it and we bought it, or we simply did without it. So here we were, we recently completed a couple $100,000 of leasehold improvements within the building that we currently occupied. We were 2 years in on a lease, and we had about 5 years left on that lease. So we could have moved to anywhere in the city. We could have picked anywhere in this beautiful city. And we decided on Landmark, the business district of Kelowna. Go big or go home, right? We like not to be where else, but we needed to borrow to build the office that both our needs and our client needs for years to come. We could. So as your son or daughter is moving from grade 9 from middle school to high we took on another lease for our print studio that we had relocated from Salmon Arm. Then we relocated and took on additional office space on the top floor of a business tower in Kamloops for our Kamloops office. You'd think that would be enough, but wait, there's more. Then we decided to write a actually a wonderful idea to host a never been done before conference for the business community. And we did big, it's in our DNA. We brought in 8 keynote speakers, 2 of which were former Prime Ministers of Canada, Jean Chrétien and Stephen Harper. And I really truly believed then and now that there isn't a greater calling in leadership than running a country. I think that's kind of important. So you would think that would be enough, but no, we decided to open up 2 more divisions. We opened up 16 Flights, our publication division, and then we also opened Eva Productions, which was our all this distractions. So to say the least, 2019 was our transition year that had us not profitable for the first time in more years than I could remember. And it does, as a leader, it leaves you doubting. You're not sure that you've made the right decision in investing in this, or zigging when you should have zagged. So during the last quarter of 2019, it was obvious. We were 3 quarters in, and we needed to make some changes. So as you get bigger, you're not quite as nimble or capable of impacting change or making change just at a snap of a finger. So it takes time for those changes to show on the financials. So you decide on a new plan and you implement it. So now it's January and February of 2020 that we're actually seeing the impacts of those changes. We're on pace for the biggest year ever. We're outpacing our previous targets by double. So 2020 is going to be awesome. Bye-bye 2019, 2020 is going to be awesome. Mid-March, full stop. We're all experiencing the pandemic. As we now know, some are experiencing it to greater degrees than others. So back to the question, during these times, what did I find was my biggest challenge as a leader? I've heard over and over, one of the most important traits of a great leader is to be authentic. Let me tell you, was I authentic and raw? My biggest challenge as a leader was my attitude. I was absolutely paralyzed. I felt like Chicken Little with the sky falling. I was scared. I was absolutely scared to death, scared of losing everything. Not only what I contributed to building, but what was built by staff, both past and current. I was scared of the losing or not honoring the sacrifices of the leadership team over the years, and the fact that all those sacrifices would be for nothing. I was unbelievably angry that this unseeable foe could be so absolutely crippling. Never mind I could, or someone I loved or know could catch this COVID and could die. So for days, I was absolutely not myself. Jim would say to me, Nikki, you need to be strong. You need to be a leader. You need to be that rock for others. You need to be the glue that holds everything together. but knew I wasn't playing. I had this dark cloud over me, a horrible outlook, unbelievably miserable to be around. It was one of my most non-proud displays of leadership. The tone in my voice was that of defeat and hopelessness. My posture was hardly poised and strong and proud. So there's another hurdle, up and over attitude was nowhere to be seen. It was shook to the core. My dress code that I take great pride in was non-existent. Although Alexa didn't say, wow, you combed your hair today, I wouldn't have been surprised if she had. So I was wearing sweatshirts and frumpy clothes. Anyway, as an organization, we've always been keenly aware of the things that we need to track on our SWOT analysis. We take pride in watching sectors closely to really understand the potential of downturns. We watch the global economies and the stock markets. Going into 2020, we were for sure mindful of the potential of a recession or a depression. But I swear a global pandemic was not on our SWOT analysis. I did not see that train coming. The leadership team and I made a conscious decision to gather. We grabbed our computers and we put ourselves into our big boardroom and we met every single day. We worried together. We consumed information and got updates together. We listened intently as we're trying to learn how to navigate and what the effects of this are going to be. We worked together just to start the day. Just start the day, travel through it together, and try and make it to the end of the day. And then let's start it all over again. So it was one day at a time. So together we took calls that were coming in, pausing advertising on our media platform, in addition to taking calls from our agency clients to pause all marketing spends that they had in play with us. So it was our own little war room or situation room. And the way I managed to overcome my terrible attitude of self-pity and despair, and please hear me, not one that I am proud of at all, was twofold. And it actually came out of nurturing. So one was not of my doing. Alexa, who's my right hand, my rock, she travels with me through the day as we take on the day, we arm up and we take on the day. She phoned my middle daughter in Calgary and she said, eesh, I don't think your mom's doing that well. I think you need to come home. I think you have to help her. The other decision, actually, I want to make a comment on that. So it's not lost on me that Alexa put that call out, and it was the daughter nurturing and caring for the mother. So that was interesting, because I am always tend to be the nurturer. So the other decision was that we were going to make care calls. We were going to nurture and care for others. So we jumped on phones to check in with clients and with non-clients. And the calls were to see how they were doing, to allow them to just hear a voice on the other end of the call, to let them know that they weren't alone, and to make sure that they were heard. We never paused a single customer that was advertising on Kelowna Now. And as well, we offered certain sectors of business free advertising as we spun up our nearby or proximity directories to restaurants, home improvement stores, and retail and more. So this was actually the birthplace. This room that we were gathering in was the birthplace of one of our Zoom programs that we currently run and still run, which is Business Matters. And it's our weekly broadcast that we interview businesses in the communities that we operate, and we find out what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they're impacting their sector and their community. So being nurtured and nurturing others is what helped me to turn from my self-pity party to an opportunity to be a lifeline for others. It was actually in these meetings that we also discussed the closing of 3 newspapers in Winnipeg. And this conversation was actually the catalyst or the springboard that brought to life our now cities. And we have 97 of those brought to life because we know the impact that Kelowna now had during the pandemic in really connecting community and making sure that we were broadcasting the news as it happened and telling the community what they needed to do or what was coming down for protocols and how to manage. So the next question is, was there anything I felt worked better for me as a leader? And the question is around better work-life balance or better way of doing things. So I can honestly tell you I've never been one to adhere to or subscribe to work-life balance. I actually believe you're always out of balance. I strive to have the pendulum swing as close to center as I can, but I know it will be an ever-moving target, more of a guideline versus a rule. So through the popular definition of balance, I absolutely do not pass. I've never mastered that. And it's actually also something that's not a goal of mine. I don't strive to achieve balance. So there's one thing that did help me specifically. Instead of starting my second shift at 4:30, which is notorious, I work many more hours than 8 hours a day. And again, that's by choice. So instead of starting my next shift at 4:30, or instead of coming into the office and working on the weekend, like I always do, and I love to do it, I actually stayed home. We have a half an acre in our backyard. And with the insane growth in our company and the expansion within our group of companies, I absolutely neglected my backyard for at least a few years. So those that have heard me speak before may have heard me reference my heritage. I'm Scottish, and as such have an incredible temper. There's a saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I disagree. I think what doesn't kill you really pisses you off. So I did what any sane person would do. I took out my COVID anger on my poor backyard. So I was ripping out weeds, hacking branches, chucking rocks, hauling bags of yard waste up 5 flights of stairs. And let me tell you, was that therapeutic? So I guess my suggestion to you is to find a way to channel your energy, whatever it is, in order to stay strong and healthy when faced with challenges. The final question is, what is my advice for anyone who is still struggling during these times? So my prediction is there is going to be a thinning of the herd. There will be sectors that have fewer businesses in them standing. It always comes down to supply and demand. And if we take a look at the sector, specifically restaurants, I think we will see some that close their doors in November and not reopen. It is and always has been survival of the fittest, both from the perspective of lives, both from the perspective of lives in general as health, but also livelihoods in the financial health of businesses and by extension the sector. So here's what I think. I think if you are a business owner in a sector and in an industry that's been hit hard, you may not be able to withstand the onslaught of reduced customer numbers, higher operational costs, fewer staffing resources. The thing is, if you are entrepreneurial by nature, your business spirit does not go away. You are driven. You see opportunity, and often it's opportunity where others don't see it. You're not afraid of hard work, and you're certainly not afraid of risk. Maybe a little gun shy for a bit, but not risk adverse. So my sense is that if we don't want to ever be in a situation we found ourselves in March, we don't want to isolate, or we don't want to be isolated and without our people. We do not want to not have access to things like bleach and toilet paper and spaghetti. I mean, I did not enjoy this space. So I think we're going to see programs that incentivize people to start these companies, to make things locally, to ensure that we are self-sufficient. So I guess I believe once you have the entrepreneurial bug, it's hard to shake it. If your sector industry has been hit hard and you cannot see a way out, do not give up. Take what you've learned and try it again. Thank you very much for listening to my tale and my story. I'm happy to answer any questions, anything, open book, not afraid.
Virtual clap. I have to come on this side. We're having some feedback here, so we thought that, you know, this is going to be the best way. So Nikki, thank you so much, and being an authentic leader. And I think what really stood out for me during your presentation was, I really resonate, is that your attitude is everything. I just recently have been going through some stuff that you have talked about, and it just, and I agree, right? It's the attitude and the way that you present yourself. Right. And it's okay to have those days. It is. Right. And I know when you're saying, hey, I'm, you know, like I wasn't myself, that is actually yourself, but it's not maybe, you know, if you're going on for years and years, then maybe not. Right. So,
yeah. Don't put that on a poster.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's just about getting through it. Right. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that stood out for me is that you really touched on, you know, that the support system. And I think as leaders, I think, because we are all leaders in this room, right? You were talking about Alexa, just, you know, being able to support you and reaching out, and because she cared about you, right? That's mentorship. And I think as leaders, we all need it as well, right? On every level, right? And I always say that whether it's, you know, you always should be a mentee, and you should always be a mentor, right? Absolutely. So thank you. I'd like to move into some questions. Absolutely. We have a lot here. And I believe we have about, how are we doing for time here? We have about 25 minutes here. So, so the first one is that somebody asked, you know, you're not obviously afraid of hard work. You have a really strong work ethic. So how do you measure personal success, and how do you actually set your long and short-term goals?
Stubborn as the day is long. So again, heritage. I set a goal, and there isn't a non-achievement of the goal. It isn't even a thought. So it's very much of it. It will absolutely be. It's just a matter of how long it takes me to get there to do it. And again, there's a saying or an expression. I can't even tell you who it is. I know. I just can't remember right now. But there is this absolute commitment to traveling towards excellence or perfection. And I know you can't have perfection. I know that, but I feel that if I strive to reach that, if I'm always going for that, then I'm going to pass great and excellence along the way. So it's this real, every goal is a stretch goal.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So you know, just reading your bio and, you know, picking out certain things to cover, right? Like you have achieved a lot. So what do you feel is your
right now them are big one or two to reduce back down the numbers them where they have.
Could I just interrupt there? Somebody actually has their audio on So I'm asked, so could somebody mute it? Not sure.
We got it.
Okay, thank you.
So what is my proudest accomplishment?
Yeah, like when you can, you know, look at everything and it doesn't, you know, work, personal, when you say your proudest accomplishments, what kind of sticks out
I
for
think
you?
there's three things that just jumped out to mind right away. My children, to me, I mean, I thank them all the time for picking me as their mom. I'm so proud of them, and I do feel that they are a gift that I get to give to the world when I leave. But there's also, we have an incredible mentoring and passion in here to coach and to help the people within our organization find their passion and their success. And we actually move them, we create positions that align with their being. So if you look at entrepreneurship, there's entrepreneurs and there's intrapreneurs, and we have so many intrapreneurs in here that have the ability to operate and grow their passion and their way of businessing as if this were their business, and we support them with the team behind. And I think the third thing is I'm so absolutely proud that I know that people within this community will interact with our work every single day. They just don't know it. It will be sitting beside a vehicle that we've wrapped. It will be driving by a sign of a brand that we brought to life, or logging onto a website to digest some information or find a solution. We are so, so, so deeply woven into the fabric of this community, and it's with great pride.
Thank you. Next question. Ready for the next one?
Absolutely.
So were there any influential people through your journey that contributed to your success and your strength?
Absolutely, my husband. He's very good at pushing you to do more. But someone that I think is absolutely inspirational, and I referenced Nana in my presentation. Here's a woman that immigrates by herself at 16 during the Hungarian Revolution, doesn't speak a word of English, picks Canada, comes to Canada, and survives, and raises the children and gives to people, and is just the most beautiful soul. So when she would always say to me, "Oh, Nikki, you're beautiful." And so she, just someone that 100% ultimately sees you and loves you for who and what you are. And that usually comes from within your close circle. So yeah.
Okay. So following your passion is a kind of a commonly used thing, right? When you take workshops, it's always about your passion. Do you feel you have followed your passion?
That's such a good question. Okay, passion. I actually think my calling, and I've said this before, I have always felt my calling was to be a teacher. I love to educate and help people understand things. And for the longest time, and I mean for 15 or 17 years, I always felt like I had not done what I was supposed to do, being put on this earth. And actually, my passion is people and helping to educate people. And I get to do that. I get to help people learn how to business every day. So, you do rewind 15 years ago, Nikki, what's your passion? Oh, I wish I could teach. Maybe that's the path, but be open to knowing that the passion, as you define it, doesn't necessarily apply to the sector or the segment that you think. So I get to be nurturing and teaching in business. And that has absolutely lent itself to our success, because I don't ever sell. I'm in sales. I don't ever sell. I help. I listen to what you're trying to do, and I teach you how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a perfect way to explain it, right? Because it's just, and it also, because I know a lot of people, when you hear the word sales, they just run. Yeah, they run out, right? And they're like, oh my goodness, right? So I think that's exactly what it is. It's like your passion is to help people.
Absolutely.
And if you have a product and you're supporting other people, then it's going to sell itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the next one is on mentorship. So who are your mentors, and are they all females, or is there like a mix?
I read a tremendous amount. I listen to Audible all the time. I remember, so now I'm going to date myself. I remember buying the CD pack from Tony Robbins 20 years ago on when he had taken the stage and he was a big deal. And I've abandoned Tony Robbins' teaching for years, and darned if I'm not back listening to his books. I take nuggets and pieces from all sorts of places, and there isn't any one person. I listen to podcasts, I watch YouTube videos, I read books, and I'm just always open to take wisdom from others. I do not know everything and need to
come
learn.
on. Yeah. Thank you. I guess, yeah, and then so I guess the question kind of off of that too is that what would you suggest when you are looking for your mentors, right? I mean, yes, you need to have those, you have to have that connection, and yeah, you have to kind of have the same type of, what would you call it, like experience and things like that, but is there any recommendations that you think that maybe what would work for you picking mentors?
So here's what I hope, and I hope I'm not throwing the business community under the bus here, but I'm going to say it. Pick anybody within the city and call them or email them. They have tremendous amount of experience and wisdom. They have stepped on tons of landmines. We've lost limbs. We've learned. It hurts. It hurts. Just reach in and ask a business person within the community to sit down for coffee, or to jump on a Zoom call, or take a 15-minute call with anyone that you want to learn from, because the knowledge that comes from those people in the path that they've traveled, they're willing to help. You just have to ask. And I think there's this, and again, this is back to the belief that I have. I truly believe that no one individual is more important than another. I think we're all equal. I say it often and frequently within these walls and outside. No one is unapproachable. Just ask. They'll share. Yeah.
So yeah. The worst thing they can always say is just ask. The worst thing somebody can say is no.
Yeah, and go ask somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so next question is, you talked a lot about your journey and some of your struggles, but what do you feel was your most challenging moment during your journey?
There's lots. And there's one in particular that stands out, barring COVID. I mean, COVID, there's no turn to page 43 in the playbook and do this. That's a whole new kettle of fish. But there was a time, and it was in 2010, that I actually tapped out. I raised my hand. I said, uncle. I said, I'm out. It was hard. Everything was hard. We were not adhering to budgets. We were not delivering good work. weren't taking care of the client's money that was given to us to make them a thing. And it was, I couldn't see a path forward and a path out of it. And so I quit. I don't know if you're allowed to quit your own company, but I quit. I was done. I was out. So I said to my husband, I said, Jim, I'm done. And I mean, we're married, we're together 30 years. He knows me. He's like, yes. Mm-hmm. So pause, let's load up the kids and go on a holiday for 30 days. We're going to take the holiday trailer and we're going to go down the Oregon and Washington coast, and we're just going to take a time out. And fine. So we do, I agree. And I'm very, again, you heard the story in my yard. I'm very much with nature, the sound of the water, the hawk flying over, making that beautiful screech as it hunts. So I get refilled, I get re-energized. So we spend 30 days on the coast, setting up camp, breaking camp. We spend a beautiful, beautiful 30 days with Nana and Nicholas, and we're telling stories of past. And Jim doesn't mention a word about the company for weeks and weeks and weeks. And as I'm healing and I'm getting better and I'm getting more energy and recharged, he says, so Nikki, if you could do the one thing you love, that you absolutely love and that you're meant to do, what would it be? And I said, well, I would be with people. I'd want to lean forward, and and I still do it. I want to ask, what do you do? Why do you do it? How do you do it? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. What do you wish you could do? So I love to be with people, and I'd love to understand what they're trying to do and make their goals my goals. The second it's theirs, I want it for them, and I want to help them get it. So he said, okay, so smart man, what if I let you do that? And I took all of the other stuff, all of the hard stuff, the paperwork, the blowing budgets, and I were to right the ship, and you just got to like talk to people. I'm like, okay. So that was absolutely, sorry, lots to do. Ding, ding. Says the,
in 10 minutes. Oh.
Yeah. So that was a real defining moment. And actually that was a pivot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. I'm just going to look here. I know there's some other questions here too. So what you talked about the attitude and being authentic, right? But what do you think are some other key elements, especially specifically for a woman, like a leader?
I think the character traits that I admire and that I look for, and it doesn't matter male or female. I think I'm looking for and believe that it's honesty and integrity and truth and honor and passion and just a real strong moral compass that has, or that believes in the philosophy of if you get it, whatever it is, return it as you got it or better. So make an impact, make whatever it is, make it better than you found it. Mm-hmm. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah. So there are just a couple comments here. So, Jasmine said, amazing, you are very inspirational. Your authentic air is refreshing, and a female leader. You own your fault and let them better you. Great presentation.
Thank you.
That's nice. Yeah. And I think that's another thing. It's really about empowering other females as well, right? It is, always lifting somebody up.
I absolutely am business. I lean into commerce, but I will not deny, I definitely lean women or female. If there is a woman that wants to jump in and be in business, I definitely want to support that. It's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. And there are traits, not all women, but there are traits in women that maybe don't have us take the risk that our male counterparts take, or maybe we examine something 6 ways to Sunday, and we should just like put it in a hat and pick it out, or flip a coin or something. Like we do have, we just have differences, and that's okay. So I definitely lean women.
Yeah, okay. There is a question from Kim who said, Nikki, are you open to network?
Absolutely.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then there's another question here that says, you know, do you see yourself as a mentor?
Every day. I referenced my work children, and I mean that in a polite way. I try and mentor in every moment of every day, both internally and staff, with my children, with clients. Yes, all the time.
Okay, thanks. Another question. This is for, I guess, the younger generation. So would you have any advice for young people who are searching for their career path and direction? Because I think we can kind of all remember when we were at that age and some of the struggles, right? So what would you give us your advice?
So there's actually two things that popped into my mind. I swore I'd never say this, but back in my day when I was young, so there is
walking uphill backwards,
right through the snow.
Yeah.
So there is a message that I have for young people, and it's no different than anything that I said this morning. Just work for it. You will not be given things. They do not land on your lap. You have to fight for them. If you want them, put them out there. Be humble enough to listen to see if what you think is true. The community around you will tell you if your idea is good, or if your business model is, if there's an appetite for it. So listen, because you will have it validated one way or another. And then the second thing that I do want to say, I get grouchy with that blanket statement that is attached to millennials in being not hardworking, entitled. They just think that they're the definition of being more cause and less financial. I don't necessarily agree with it. There's like 4 of us in our team of 50 that aren't millennials. I see hard work and dedication and passion and just really good, strong morals and traits in our younger generation, and they are our hope. I think I wouldn't want to be someone young in this world. It's hard right now, in knowing you're getting inputs from so many different directions. You have there isn't quiet anywhere. So I think it's really difficult. And I think for young people, I think a lot of the questions that you asked, find mentors, be so passionate in learning, try to learn from others that have gone before you. The roads have been traveled. Just ask for advice, and people will give it. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Just keeping track of time. And I notice it's 8:57, so I want to make sure that we get everybody out here on time. So just on behalf of the WIL Committee, thank you so much. That was a great presentation. You're very inspiring, and you're definitely a visionary leader. Thank you for taking the time. And thank you to everybody who joined us today. What's going to be coming up next is that we're going to, of course, get a survey just to kind of find out, what you thought about today and just some upcoming topics that you would like to see. And again, thank you, and hopefully everybody has a good day. And thank you for everybody for joining us from across Canada. And of course, let's give a little round of applause for our behind the scenes team. And we have Patty, Nika, and Alexa, who have been kind of, keeping us on track and looking after all the technical things. So thank you. So look forward to seeing you at our next Leadership Connect on October 15th. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.